Currently rehearsing in New York for the revival of Irene as my next guest. You all know her well. Would you welcome, please, Miss Debbie Reynolds. Why are you?
Gee, you're welcome back to New York, John.
Have to come back to the big city here occasionally to get revitalized.
Well, everybody misses you here, I know that.
Thank you.
But we love having you on the coast.
How do you like being back here, though? You're the one who's...
Well, I'm not a big city girl, kind of. I'm not used to the big city. But everybody's very nice, I must say. You know, they gave me a whole thing about New York, and it was kind of not friendly and all that. But I don't know, as you walk along the street, the guy in the cab and, hey, Debbie!
Oh, yeah,
What are you opening, Irene?
Wait till you go by a construction outfit about noon during a lunch break. You'll hear some dialogue that'll...
Oh no,
yes.
They're very friendly. I'm enjoying myself. It's hard, you know, doing a Broadway show.
You've never done a Broadway show before, have you?
No, it's unusual. It's sort of, well, it's another world. Let's put it that way. I mean, I've done vaudeville for years, and you have too, and I used to do summer stock a lot in the sense of touring and doing plays. But this is really something else to start with right from the beginning and put it together, find the right play. First of all, we had the right play. Harry Rigby had this score, Irene, which is a great score, and My Sweet Little Alice Blue Gown, and You Made Me Love You.
Those are all
I didn't want to do, yes. And They Go Wild, Simply Wild Over Me, all that stuff. They have great songs. My Sweet Little Alice Blue Gown.
You mentioned playing vaudeville. You weren't old enough to play vaudeville.
I closed it. Oh, shut up.
Well, what we say vaudeville, I mean...
Well, years ago you had, like we do now in Vegas, which is the only thing left now. We had Lowe's theaters, right? The Capitol. I played there, and then they tore it down. You could figure how good I was. And that was the last 2 years of vaudeville.
What did you do in your act?
I worked with Carlton Carpenter, and we did Abba Dabba Dabba.
Rich, Young, and Pretty.
He went, oh, I never knew you were sentimental, Rex.
2 Weeks with Love, it's from.
Rich, Young, and Pretty.
2 Weeks
Two
with
Weeks
Love.
with Love. Look at that, Rex. He knows everything, you devil.
Rex is a caution.
Listen,
I heard that.
I have to say, could I just say one thing?
You can say anything you
want. And this is the honest to God's truth.
If he doesn't say it, he'll write it. So
People forget, really, what a really first-rate actress this lady is, because she made a film once. She's made many, many films, of course, but there was one film that she made that was directed by Richard Brooks, in which she wore no makeup. She appeared most of the time in a slip and little $39 dresses, and it was a film called The Catered Affair with Betty Davis and Barry Fitzgerald and Ernest Borgnine and Debbie, in which she gave one of the most incredibly sensitive performances I've ever seen on the screen. But people forget. They do forget.
I think that's the nicest thing I ever heard anybody say. You're a nice boy, darling.
That's
do
very
forget,
sweet. That's a
though.
long time ago. That's, goodness, in 1953 or 54, something like that. The last dramatic show I did was called What's the Matter with Helen with Shelley Winters. My mother saw it. I'm not sure anybody else did.
I didn't see that.
You didn't see it. I knew it. I loved it. It was very interesting. It was a murder sort of drama thing. And it was, I really loved the picture. But they released it like it was a sneak attack. I've never figured it out quite. It was an unusual thing.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't know. They released it to neighborhood reruns. You know what I mean? I mean, it never came out first class, you know, like, ta-da, here's a terrific picture or anything. Willard even got better notice. The rat.
Yeah, that seems to be another trend, doesn't it, in motion pictures?
Being a rat?
Well, they're making a picture now that's called, it was a promotion stunt, but it has to do with snakes.
Oh, yes.
Well, they do terrible
snakes
things anyway.
There's a new one about rabbits. I mean, what can a rabbit do? Hop you to death?
Could you write that up, honey? Yeah. How was your last interview?
When you opened in a new theater there. Is this where the old Astor Hotel was? Is this the theater they built?
The theater we're going into is a new theater called the Minskoff Theater. It was named after, in fact, a very talented man who's producing the show, Jerry Minskoff. And this is the opening of it, the premiere of it. And it's where the old Astor used to be, and I will not discuss that with you at all, Rex. So I assumed that the Astor years ago. I've never much known New York, but I heard it was a fabulous hotel.
It was one of the great places
I
to
always
hang
hate
out
to
in the
see
world.
them tear beautiful buildings down, you know, like anything at all.
I don't know whether,
Palace.
excuse me, I don't know if you heard Rex and I discussing the feasibility of critics attending opening night or choosing another night. Would you rather that critics would come, say, a week after your show was open?
Well, I think openings are very difficult, and I think it's you shouldn't judge opening nights, I don't think, because not only is it the performers, but you, after all, are involved with scenery and timing of music and microphones and whatever is involved in a production. And it's very hard to be together in time for opening nights. Yeah. The demand is too terrific. It's like our show now we're doing, and the sets were designed for New York. Now we're going to Toronto, Canada, and we're playing,
The O'Keeffe.
what is it? No, we're not playing the O'Keeffe. We're playing the Alexandria. Now, the Alexandria is much smaller than here at the Minskoff, so they had to make new sets for Toronto and other sets for here. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I have my vaudeville act ready to step right in.
Just go right in, put on the cane
In case
and the hat
Irene
and start.
blows, I'll sing Tammy, and we'll just move right
Would
I
that
can't
shake
take
them
a
up a little
chance.
bit?
No, the show is together.
Right.
You know, we really have Patsy Kelly is in the show, and
Yeah, she's going to
brilliant.
join us in a moment.
Patsy's here waiting.
Yeah, well, we'll bring her out in a moment. She just finished No, No, Nanette, did she
Yes,
not?
and she's sensational.
She's been sensational all her life.
Yeah, it's so
All right, we'll take this
Remember?
brief. We want to do this first? All right, we'll take a pause here, and then we'll have Patsy join
a
us.
sponsor, right?
Our sponsor.
A sponsor.
How are you? Patsy Kelly has been in the entertainment business since the 1920s, and I'm sure she doesn't mind my saying that. And she won a Tony Award for No, No, Nanette, played Ruby Keeler's maid. She's a delightful lady. Would you welcome, please, Miss Patsy Kelly?
You were wonderful the other night.
Thank you.
What did he do?
Well, good night.
Catching a nap already?
St. Regis.
How are you?
Wonderful.
So nice to see you.
Good to see you. Welcome back like everybody else.
Thank
We've
you.
missed you.
When you opened, I forgot to ask you.
In
when
New
you
York.
opened this
January
play-
28th in New
January
York.
the 28th
Yes.
in New York.
We open in Canada. It's in 2 weeks.
Toronto a week from, well, we leave here Tuesday
Yeah.
to rehearse for 5 weeks, and then we open.
No.
Well, we're opening in Toronto.
You still
Wait,
get
in the
nervous?
next
That's
week.
always a dumb question, but people,
Patsy gets so nervous. Look, don't be nervous, you know.
Who's nervous? Nobody's nervous.
yes, let's just move. You
No,
know,
but this is going to be, I think, one of the most exciting musicals. I was blessed with Nanette. In fact, I went from one great lady to another great lady. And the music is beautiful, and the funny thing to me, we are being directed by the one and only, the great Sir John Gielgud. I've been genuflecting for 3 weeks. He's so marvelous and so wonderful, but it's a point of, you know,
do all the performers hold him in great awe, I
really,
suppose?
he's so in awe. I go out to act. Anyway, I'm doing the scenes, and I look around and I see this face, this magnificent, great actor, you know. I think, what the hell am I doing in this room? I want to run under the table and run out of the place. But he's a divine, wonderful man, and
Yes, he
he's
is.
making it very easy for all of us.
That's good. You play Debbie's mother in this picture, am
Yes,
I
I
correct?
think the role should be the opposite, but, you know. Can't have it.
What was your first professional job?
I had the honor of working with the great Mr. Frank Fay.
Frank Fay. That's going back a few years.
Well, yes.
It's going back.
Tell the story when you were getting married. You were gonna...
No.
Frank Fay was responsible, I think, for a lot of various comedians.
Very true. His timing and his wit was just something.
Yes,
I
it
owe him a
was.
great deal. Great deal.
What you asked her to tell a story? What was it?
No.
Some story she can't tell?
it's true.
No, I just loved the man. I was about 14, and I thought he was the greatest thing ever. So he asked me to marry him and fired me 2 weeks later for calling him Frank.
Kind of a warm person.
Yes.
huh? That's very funny.
I love that story.
Then he married Barbara Stanwyck, didn't he?
Yes, I let him. Yeah.
You let Frank off the hook, or
Yes,
Mr. Fay,
I
as he
wouldn't blame
preferred to
him
be
at all.
called. You've worked. Last night they held here in New York an invited guest list in honor of Tallulah Bankhead.
Yes.
You worked with.
I was there last night.
Were you there at that
It was
party
a
last
beautiful tribute. You there, Rex?
I was in bed with the flu last night. I was invited, but I didn't get to go.
Patsy said it was sensational.
Just beautiful.
There are so many great stories about that lady.
Oh,
I wonder if you,
one of the greatest
remember any
ladies
of them
ever.
or any.
Oh, yes, but she's the impersonator.
Thank you, darling. We got a drink.
Just a great lady, a great friend, great actress.
Many of the things she said that one does not say on television. You see them occasionally in print, but she was she was so crusty, and yet she could say things that the ordinary person could not possibly get away with because of the attitude. She had style. I guess that's the
sure did.
right adjective for
You
doing
know,
this type
she
of
said
thing.
she was as pure as the driven slush.
That's wonderful. I thought of another one, but I can't do that one either. What are some of the famous?
And it's a wonderful thing, you know, she was a chain smoker, and of course, gentlemen were always lighting it, and she said, half the fun is lighting it, darling. And I think she's right, you know, because it's, if you do like to smoke, well, go the whole way. But, you know, a gentleman tries to be a gentleman.
There was a line attributed to her, but then later on somebody said it was written for a radio show, but it sounds like her. Some interviewer had called her, some male interviewer, and said on the phone, "Have you ever been mistaken for a man?" And she says, "No, darling, have you?" Which sounds so much like her, I don't care whether it's apocryphal or not.
She was very exciting, and
You know,
always...
she and Estelle Winwood were great
One of the
pals,
greatest
and
friends she
she had a house in the country. They used to go up there and play bridge all the time. You know, Tallulah never got up before, it was mid-afternoon, and she always woke up just in time to see her soap operas. And so they would go up to the country and spend whole weekends, and at this particular time, all the soap operas were on the radio, so they'd go up there and spend weekends playing bridge and listening to Young Witter Brown and Backstage Wife and Portia Faces Life and all these shows. And so they had the radio on, and on the radio came the announcement that the Lindbergh baby had been kidnapped. And all of the stations were filled with horror stories about the ladder going up to the window, and they had a 4-state police alarm, and they had drag nets out covering the place looking for the poor little Lindbergh baby. And Tallulah said, "This is dying." And they moved in closer and closer to the radio, and they listened, and they stopped playing bridge, and they talked about, they said, "And if anyone has any whereabouts, any knowledge of the whereabouts of the Lindbergh baby kidnapper, please phone them in, because the police, they're dragging the swamps. They're looking, they have ladders to the window." And Tallulah turned to Estelle Winwood and says, "Well, darling, that's one we're well out of." So it's become a standard joke among a lot of people in show business that if they're seen in a room and they turn to each other and say, "That's one we're well out of,"
well out of.
It's a Tallulah
That's
joke.
great. We have to take a break here? All right, we'll be right back. We wanted to mention both Debbie and Patsy before we leave and you go to Canada for the opening of Irene, that our good mutual friend Billy DeWolf was scheduled to be in the play, but dropped out because of a little fatigue, and he is
sensational. He has betted with the flu.
and he's so
Get
great.
well, please, please, Billy, get well.
So I know you'll miss him,
And we
but
have George,
Yeah, great actor, George Irving.
great. Well, I wish you much success with it.
Well, thank you
We'll
very
see you
much.
back here in New York when you
It's
open.
wonderful to
Thanks
Well,
for coming.
January 28th here, the Minskoff. Hope you can come.
All righty, we'll do. Rex, it's time for your medication. Thank you, Larry. Tomorrow night, Gig Young, Joe Garagiola, Bette Midler, Los Indios, Trabajaras. We'll see you then. Good night.
This program was pre-recorded.